台湾だ。
Ah! Genji turned around and spoke that single word. Okay. Going straight to the point, eh? With that one, Genji.
そうだったのですか。
なるほど。やっとクラウス様の話がつながったよ。
That surely caught me off guard. Wait. Does this mean that this is a confirmation? Huh. Interesting. Like for quite a lot of episodes, I've been thinking of Taiwan as the solution, and to hear it being said like right over here, that surely caught me off guard a little bit.
ほら、親方様が好まれる便道。
Are they nuts?
そういえばクラウス様、あれは台湾ではタバコのようにポピュラーな嗜好品だとおっしゃってましたっけ。それで親方様は便籠を。
Many Japanese moved to this land in a half century before the war. Kinso's family was a branch family of the Shurians. Apparently, they were only distantly related to the head family, so they were able to emigrate to this new world with dreams of a new future, without being constrained by the head family in Odawara. Shannon kind of nodded their understanding, but they didn't know why Genji had suddenly broached the subject.
では、親方様の故郷の台湾に鮎の泳ぐ川があって、そこに鍵があるということでしょうか。
Actually, hold on, let me check something here. Okay, I had to remind myself of what steps I've taken when I was going for Taiwan, and I think that I was still from what I remember, I was still looking for rivers, and eventually I was looking at Tom Sui River, and I was like, okay, can this lead me to something? And I found Tom Sui River in Taiwan, and that surely did not help me until I find out that there is actually like some train tracks that were also called like Tom Sui, and then I followed it and I found Kilian, and thus making the connection with quadrillion and removing letters and boom boom boom. But they are talking about areca nuts, which does sound like something that Kraus mentioned. I think that it was during that time when we had a tiny bit of a flashback with Kraus and Natsu during their younger days, and Kraus was telling Natsuki about the areca nuts, and I think Natsuki was not fond of those nuts. But let me see. Areca nuts. Sea grows in much of the tropical Pacific, Southeast and South Asia, and parts of East Africa. Okay, I'm probably gonna look at this stuff up like a little bit later, but is that actually the clue that would lead me to Taiwan? The areca nuts? Huh. Okay. I guess I've taken a completely different route in finding Taiwan, I guess.
姉さんはバカだな。鮎の泳ぐ川なんていくらでもあるに決まってる。
わからないよ。親方様が台湾のどちらにお住まいだったかは知らないけれど、だったらそこってことになるじゃない？
姉さんは楽観的だな。そんな簡単なことで謎が解けるものか。
親方様の魔法の儀式は挑む者が多いほどにその力を増すと仰せだ。お前も挑戦してみなさい。誰にも等しく機会は与えられているのだ。
はい。
どうせ解けないさ。くだらない。
Genji spun around. Shannon and Kanon hurried to follow after him. When his footsteps receded and sounds returned, a gold butterfly flitted out from among the shadows.
台湾とな。ほう、随分と遠くに住んでいたものよ。
Behold the Sweetfish River, running through my beloved home of old. In other words, a Sweetfish River running through my beloved Taiwan?
台湾に川などいくらでもあるわ。カノンの言う通りではないか。バカバカしい。
However, the word Taiwan interests me. How could it not mean something when Genji, a man of few words, had muttered it impromptu? Clearly, Genji must have said it in connection with the Epitaph's riddle. Almost as though it were a hint for solving it.
バカらしいとは思いつつも、よかろうぞ源氏。そなたの茶番にしばし付き合おうではないか。
Taiwan. I have traveled the road these past 1,000 years, but I know nothing of the place.
無知を補うには、知識の結晶に頼るが一番。それは薄く伸ばされて何枚にも重ねて閉じられて、書物と呼ばれているのだ。
Okay. Umineko, waxing poetics, even describing books in such extravagant ways. Crystallization of knowledge, that which is smoothed out and pressed into many sheets called a book. Where might I find a book about Taiwan? Kinzo's study is the first place that comes to mind if one is looking for books. Ah, the ancient place of knowledge! The library. But that won't work. Or, she's referring to the study, my bad. The charm on that room prevents me from entering. In that case, the book archive. Kinzo's vast library grows each year. It can no longer be completely uncontained within his study, and so a portion of it is stored in a place called the Book Archive. Of course, there are countless books just in this place. The archive has everything from valuable books to apparently worthless books, all packed together like an antique shop. And there was a golden glint in the keyhole of the archive's door, and a gold butterfly flitted out.
相も変わらず、ひどい匂いのする部屋よ。ほこり、カビ。なるほど。知識とはこういう匂いなのか。
Dust, mold, the stench of knowledge. Are we gonna describe the spine of the book as the pit where all that stench is coming from? Okay. Well, now, how can I find a book on Taiwan amongst all this? The prospect is almost dizzy. However, I realized right away, if I wanted to quickly find out about Taiwanese rivers, I didn't want a book on Taiwan.
地図帳ではないか。そのくらいどこかにありそうであるな。探せ、我が眷属の長たちよ。この誇り臭く誇り高き知識の墓所より、わらわの探す本を探し出せ。
A cloud of countless gold butterflies appeared at my feet. They rose in a swell, blew like the wind, and swirled around the archive. Eventually, the cloud of butterflies selected a single book. Apparently, this was the one.
ご苦労であるぞ。うん。世界の地図帳、アジア編であるか。ぴったりであるな。
He was a grand, thick, illustrated encyclopedia of maps, several volumes long. So many pages. The layers of the book, so thick, so chunky. There was a thick section devoted to Taiwan. It seems sufficiently useful as a reference.
台湾とな。南北 394km、東西 144km、面積約36000平方キロメートル。ほほう、なかなかに広大であるな。
By area, that's about the same size as Kyushu in Japan. This led better to a very natural question.
金蔵はこれほどの広大な島のどこに住んでいたというのか。源氏は台湾とは言ったが、台湾のどことは言わなかったぞ。これは迂闊であった。
Battle had imagined, without much thought, that the riddle would be solved in the flesh if only she could look at a map of Taiwan. However, Taiwan is no small place. Just which part of this large island did Kinzo call his beloved home of old? Looking through books in this dusty archive, sometimes having to cough, while this simple problem obstructed my progress, was by no means enjoyable.
一番大きな都市は台北か。かつては大正町なるところに日本人たちが住んでいたとの記述もあるぞ。金蔵もやはりここに住んでいたのであろうか。いやいや、そう決めつけるのは早計であるぞ。その保証はない。
I'll skip to the next part before I settle on anything more specific than just Taiwan itself. A sweetfish river running through the home of old. What's this? There are 129 rivers in Taiwan?
は、129本。この中のどれだけに鮎が泳いでいたやら。考えただけでもめまいがするわ。
This was quickly becoming ridiculous. Genji must have been muttering nonsense to himself after all. I all thought he was giving a hint about the epitaph.
黄金に目のくらんだ愚か者への褒美は誇りまみれというわけか。
That comes from the spine of the book. That is, its pit.
源氏め、やってくれるわ。
I tossed the book aside, used magic to turn a bookshelf into a sofa, and plopped down on top of it. For a while, I gazed up at the ceiling as I grumbled about getting tricked. Then I cast my eyes down at the floor, thinking that I would feel a lot better if I gathered all this room's dust and packed it into a bowl and tossed it into Genji's teacup. A book I had thrown away lay open on the ground. A gold butterfly alighted on that open page. Tossing a book at random and reading an oracle from the page it happens to open to is one kind of charm. I see. So that page might have some sort of hint. Not entirely convinced, I picked up the book. The open page was probably very near the one I had been reading. It seemed to be a page explaining Taiwan's geography. Oddly enough, it was a page about rivers and lakes.
川が129本あることはすでに承知しておるわ。まだ他にもわらわに伝えたいことがあるというのか。
And there were 6 major rivers listed. Zoshui River, Gaoping River, Tamsui River, Dajia River, Sangwon River, Dadu River.
ほう。さて、これらの川には鮎は住めたのか否か。
And then I had a shocking realization. Sweet fish and freshwater fish. You don't find ocean waters or rivers. Unless it's extremely dirty or blocked by a dam, any river might have a sweet fish in it.
カらしい。川ならどこだって淡水だ。
淡水？
鮎の住めぬ道理はないわ。そう考えれば、この淡水がなる川のバカらしいことよ。
淡水？
川に淡水が流れるのは当然であろうが。
淡水？
淡水以外が流れて初めてそれを川の名にすればよかろうに。
淡水? Tamsui River flows from Taipei to the harbor town of Tamsui. I see. It isn't called that because of the water in it, but because of the town at its mouth. As you travel down it, you'll see a village. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. I realize that this is stupid. And yet, something about this town seems off. Behold the Sweetfish River, running through my beloved home of old. That line should be talking about one of the 129 rivers. Sweetfish are freshwater fish. And here's this freshwater river flowing down to a town called Freshwater. I do think I'm stretching it. Or is it some kind of hint? I've come all the way to this archive and even got myself covered in dust in my search for books. If I give up now, it will all have been a waste of time. Very well. Why don't I test my luck and see if the random page the book opened to contains a message from above? I turn to the next page, trying to search in an even greater detail.
This 謎解きは遊びのつもりでした。そして使用人たちはみんなこの謎解きゲームに夢中でした。私もそのうちの一人に加わるだけのつもりでした。熱中できる読み物を久しく失い、退屈していた私はその本を自室に持ち帰り、毎晩眺めました。
地図帳に碑文の謎のヒントが。
第3のゲームでエヴァは書庫で何かの本を調べて謎を解いた。そして第5のゲームでフルドエリカは謎を解くために書庫で求めた本は地図帳だった。
ではやはり台湾の地図に何か秘密が。
鮎の川とは淡水河を暗示していると信じました。地図で淡水河を毎日たどり、地形を細かく調べました。もちろん鮎の泳ぎそうな小さな渓流もいくつも調べました。でも何も分かりませんでした。
過去のゲームでの情報によるならそれは川じゃない。だが流れるものだ。
Not an actual river with water in it, but something pretty close, with a certain pattern.
エヴァはそう読み解いた。
川ではない。
はい。結論から言えば淡水河とは無関係でした。しかしやはり今にして思えばあれは信託だったのです。淡水河自体は無関係でしたが、それはやはり大きなヒントになったのです。
川は無関係なのにヒントにはなると。
落ち着いて考えろ。川でなく流れるものを考えるんだ。
つまり水以外が流れる何か。
何が思いつく。発想を柔軟にしろ。
Something a little bit less liquid and more solid, maybe?
ウィル、謎かけごっこはもううんざりしてるわ。じらさないで教えちゃいなさいよ。あなたは解けたんでしょ、碑文。
おそらくな。
水以外で流れるもの物流。例えば街道とか道路とか
Getting harder.
正解です。鮎の皮が皮そのものを刺さないことに気づくのに、私は
そうだ。淡水の名がつく川以外のものがある。それは物や人が流れ、上りも下りもある。
That carries both people and things. Flows both up and down.
上り下り。
Back and forth.
まさか。
そうだ。鉄道だ。
The Tamsui line. It's a railway that goes from Taipei to Tamsui Harbor. It was opened in 1901. Afterwards, the number of stations continued to grow, and it became a major artery into Taipei. And this railroad was used after the war as well, and is still in common use as the Taipei Metro Tamsui line. Its route begins at Taipei Station, and continues on until the town of Tamsui. Until the town of Tamsui? Actually, hold on a second. Let me look at the Taiwan map over here. You know, I have been following the railway for quite a while until I found the magic keyword. But was there actually something at the end of the road over here? Because the last, like, okay, I'm looking at the map over here and it says that the last stop is Xiangshan. Is this the town of Tamsui? Well, either way, I guess I'll look this up a little bit later, but we are getting hotter over here. Ugh. Taipei Station. Chanshan Station. Oh, we're going through each station. Hold on a second. Let me bring in the map over here. Hold on. Taiwan, yet again. Let me follow it. Let's follow this and see. Where it begins. Tamsui. Chanshan Shuangli. I don't see this. Suwei. Guandu. Zhongyi. Fengxingyang. Datun Company Station. Yuanshan. Jiantan. Shilin. Shipai.
碑文には川を下ればやがて何があると？
里があると。
淡水線の駅の中で里の名を持つ駅はこの赤廃駅しかない。
The old name of Shipai Station. Yep, I was looking at the station with the character of village. But Shipai?
これは何と読むんでしょう？
キリガン駅と読む。
キリガン。
戦後赤廃駅に名を変えたが、金蔵が住んでいた当時はキリガン駅だった。
キリガン。キリアン？
川を下ればやがて里あり。
I don't remember that.
その里にて二人が口にし岸を探れ。
里だけじゃなく岸まであるわね、その駅の名前。
果たしてその駅を示しているのか、短くない時間を悩みました。里という文字と岸という文字。
Yeah.
なんとなく謎々の文字遊びのように感じていました。
このキリガンの一文字目の口辺の漢字、口の脇にあるこれはそのと読みますよね。口にしで口の文字もあるし。
And the mouth could be what the two speak of is referring to.
でも二人が 口西の意味がわからない。
The three characters of Kilian can be split into a mouth, a dot, a village, and a shore. Those all feature in the epitaph. In that village, look for the shore the two speak of. You can read it as a code for the name of the station. However, I don't understand the part about the two.
私もそこに引っかかりました。しかしきっとこれを指し示すに違いないという強い信念がありました。
この駅名が旧名であるように、この地名も何か旧名があるのでは。
そうだ。もともとキリガン駅は地名から名付けられたものだ。そして地名のキリガンは駅名と違いこう書く。
あ、口が2つ。
調べればすぐにわかることでした。やはり碑文はこのキリガンのことを指し示していたのです。
Okay.
ではここに黄金鏡の鍵が眠っていると。
普通に考えればそうなります。しかし台湾まではるばる行けるわけもなく、当然キリガンと呼ばれる土地も広大です。そのどこに小さな鍵が隠されているのかわかるはずもない。途方に暮れました。
しかしお前は諦めなかったな。
碑文の少なくとも最初の5行については確実に答えを手に入れたと確信していましたから。
Yeah. And it does seem that, okay, if we're going with this kind of pathway towards the solution, then I probably fucked it up, because I only looked at, from what I remember, I only looked at the characters for shore and village. Those two are the characters that I found in Kilian, and that would have been the key, but no, apparently it's Kirigan?
私にとってこれはもう何よりも面白いゲーム、いえミステリーでした。
Almost gave up at that point. However, I was certain I had the key in my hand. So I decided to follow the Epitaph's instructions and journey to the Golden Land.
第一の晩に鍵の選びし6人を生贄に捧げよ。
この一文を見てわかることは、鍵とはすなわち6つの何かを示せるということだ。その時点で錠前に指す言葉通りの鍵ではないことが推理可能だ。
Yeah.
6つの何か。
はい、6つの何か。私も頭が固い人間でしたから、とにかく6に関わる何かがないかと本を読み漁りました。6。
A key with 6 letters.
キリガンという鍵のありかは言葉遊びによって隠されていました。ならばきっとこの6もまた言葉遊びに関わるに違いない。
Kirigan.
6探しました。6を。
このキリガンという文字が6つに分解できるとか。
いい推理だ。しかしこの3つの漢字といくらにらめっこしても答えは出ない。そもそもキリガンなんて読み方自体日本語読みだ。
では現地では何と。
Oh, there you go.
キリアンと発音します。
Kilian. There you go.
それは英語だと6文字。
Yeah. I guess, man, I don't remember the details exactly of what I was thinking back then, but yeah, I guess if we're going with the English spelling of this, which is Kilian, 6 letters. There you go.
6文字。 じゃあやはりこれは言葉遊び。
第一の番に鍵の選びし6文字を生贄に捧げよってわけだ。
なるほど。
When explained like this, it sounds like the logic can be taken from the beginning to end in no time at all. However, it took a long time for me to reach this spot on my own. A dazing number of nights passed from the time Genji uttered that single word to the time I got this far.
ではこの6文字を生贄に捧げるとは一体どういう意味でしょう？
It means we gotta remove those 6 letters from a completely different word.
続く第2の番以降は残されし者で話が進んでいく。何かの文字列から鍵の6文字を間引き、残った文字でどうこうしろと言っていることが推理できる。
Yeah. And those letters that remain, those are going to be the important ones after we sacrifice those 6 letters from the longer word.
しかし何から6文字を間引くのか、それにも長く悩みました。ここからはもはや新しい謎。誰の助けもなく、今度こそ自分の力だけで解かねばなりませんでした。
過去のゲームの中で確かローザおばさんが第一の番について何か仮説を立てていたような気がします。
第10の番の黄金の里に注目した推理だ。碑文の中には他に4度も黄金鏡という単語が登場するのに、なぜかこれ一つだけが黄金の里と記されている。
Yeah, I actually remembered that. But honestly, I don't remember if I have like any idea for what that could mean, to be quite honest. Home of the gold.
なぜ第10の番だけ黄金の里なのか、これに気づくのにも、そしてどうしてなのかに気づくのにも、これまた長い時間をかけました。
ローザの推理はこうだった。黄金の里を京と読み、京都の京と読み解いた。
Kyo, interpreted it as Kyo, which he took as short for Kyoto.
そして懐かしき故郷から京都までの10日かかる旅路を10分の1した地点に何か秘密があると疑った。いい推理だったが惜しかった。今日は京都以外にも読み解けたんだ。
今日を京都以外で読み解く、
難しく考えるな。そのままだ。
今日です。いえ、今日ではなく K と読みましょうか。
K? Key?
数字の単位です。
The name of a number.
1、10、100、1000、万、億、兆 K。
Yeah, I guess so. I guess this is the thing that I skipped. Apparently I skipped some stuff around here. I didn't even think about this as a completely separate riddle that I should think of with the symbols and such. Yeah, I guess so.
数字の単位。
私の場合はこの六軒島にいるという地の利がありましたから、 K を思い当たるヒントはあったのです。私の場合は先に答えが分かってから逆に問題の意味が分かったという感じでした。
ややこしいことを言うとリオンが混乱する。話を戻そう。第10の番に一景に至るならば、第1の番はいくつになる？
一景の10分の1ですから、船長。
正解だ。船長から鍵の選びし6文字を間引くんだ。
チーリーアンが英語である以上、船長も英語であろうとはすぐに察しました。
船長は英語ではクワドリリオン。第5のゲームでのバトラの推理通り11文字だ。
Yeah, there you go. So that's how you reach the connection between Kilian and quadrillion. I won't lie. I have once I have found the key, Kilian, I immediately went and removed it from quadrillion because quadrillion sounded like such a specific number that you find on the golden plate, like in front of the chapel. Like, it would have some connection with the Epitaph, given how specific it is. But I surely did not make this kind of connection, so... yeah, I guess this means that I've skipped some steps. I kind of jumped over this kind of step of the puzzle, which... I guess so. I guess I could have done a bit better, but it is what it is.
Yeah. これはあんたの推理だったか?
I basically guessed that one would take it out of quadrillion. I didn't reason out that the word would definitely be quadrillion, the way Will is doing right now. So yeah, I'm gonna take an L on that one.
くしくもこのスペルも冒頭は9、6文字の鍵の冒頭も9。きっとこれに違いないと直感しました。
Leon took a notepad from a pocket and spelled out quadrillion and Q. The two words even looked similar at a glance. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the mentality that I had. Those two words sounded familiar, so I had to do something with it.
確かにクワドリリオンの中には鍵が示す6文字が確かに含まれています。じゃあこの6文字を消すと
We're left with 5 meaningless letters. We are left with... However, the important thing is the number 5. After all, in the next part of the epitaph, the word kill appears 5 times. And then on the ninth twilight, none shall be left alive. In other words, there should be 5 letters left. Yep.
しかもこの5文字は第5のゲームでのバトラさんの推理通り寄り添っている文字があります。 D と R です。これが寄り添い師2人に違いない。
Oh! Okay. Huh. Yeah, that never crossed my mind either. What was it that I was thinking of when it comes to the two who are close? I feel like I was thinking of that kind of thing to... I feel like I connected that to the 2 characters from Kilian, like Shore and Village, the 2 who are close. But I didn't think of this. DNR, the 2 who are close.
ここまで来ればもはや謎はほとんど解けたも同然。
逆に言えば碑文だけで解ける謎はここまでだ。この後言葉遊びを続けても答えはわかるかもしれねえが仕掛けは開かない。
そうです。ここまでが分かればあとはそれに従いえぐりて殺すのみです。
お前はその場所の心当たりの方が先だったわけだな。
はい。もともと碑文が現れるより以前からそこに黄金が隠されているのではないかと疑われていました。そしてそこに謎めいた一文があればきっと何か秘密が隠されているに違いないと思うのは当然のこと。
その場所とは
黄金鏡の入り口を開ける仕掛けの場所だ。勘のいいやつなら鍵の選び師6人を生贄に捧げる第一の番がどこのことかもう察してるはずだ。
え、それは船長のことであって場所のことではないのでは。
船長と記された場所だ。お前は知ってるはずだが。それともクソ真面目に金蔵の言いつけを守り 近寄らなかったから知らないというのか。